The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys! This is the Players Lounge, broadcasting live from Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star. Now, your hosts, Barry Church, Danny McCray, Heckma Harrison, and Newey Scruggs.
Players Lounge. That's right. With a whole new cast since the bye week is here. No Barry Church. And I really wanted to talk to Barry because Barry's all about. He said Justin Herbert was going to be a top 5 MVP guy, and then Kellen Moore was going to show Mike McCarthy and win. So I don't get to talk to Jesse. I don't get to talk to Barry this week. But you know how Barry is about these things. He's got these. I believe this, and I'm going to stand on it. And I didn't get a chance to talk to him because I was doing baseball. But it's okay. McCray not here. Heckman was on the last show. Jesse Holley, former Cowboy player. Everson Walls, former Cowboy player. Jess Tavares is here.
Former Cowboy player.
Okay.
No. Look, no way.
Media expert.
Y'all on that side of the table.
I'm merely Newey Scruggs, so this media mash is this mash of new media here as we do the Players Lounge just for this bye week that's coming up here. I'll just go around the table here. Since we haven't had a chance to just talk it all, your impressions of the Monday night win against the Chargers. Jesse.
I think to steal a term from Dan Quinn, gritty but not pretty. It was a gritty but not pretty win. This is more realistic than what the brand of football and how you win football games. Monday night was more realistic than what you saw. Even in their blowout loss to the Niners. That's not realistic. Football doesn't happen like that. The blowout wins against the Giants and the Jets, football doesn't happen like that week in and week out. I think this was more of a realistic understanding of how football is being played, and a team went out there and got a gritty victory that they needed. You saw the reaction that they got. You saw Dak was like, "Thank you." Mike McCarthy was like, "Yeah." Like you saw those guys, the desperation in that celebration of those guys getting that victory. They knew what it was if you lose 2 games in a row heading to the bye week, losing to that team. So gritty but not pretty. We'll take it 4-2 heading to the bye week.
Everson.
I'll take a gritty. I love gritty.
Let me see you do
Can
the
you
gritty.
gritty?
This team,
Can you
know
do
what?
that?
I don't even know what you're talking about. I'm too old for that stuff. Anyway, I enjoy a gritty game. This is a team that needs to win more gritty games.
Yeah.
You know, we're front runners. Let's just say it. That's what they call us all over the country. Anytime we come from a tough team, you know, all of a sudden we got all these problems. Oh, you got the injury here, there. You know, we're like a little, manicure is not quite right the way you want it to be. Hey, man, I see you, brother.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Nice.
This is how we take care of yourself over this side of the table,
See,
man.
But anyway, anyway, no. No, but this is the kind of game that we need to win. This is the kind of team we need to be. I really don't like the fluff. I don't like the blowouts necessarily because there's always a moment there to where this game could have gone either way. Ends up being a blowout. I want a game, what we just had the other night, to where everything was against us. It wasn't pretty at all. I love gritty. This is the kind of team that needs to be gritty. I always compare what I want for this team to what we are. I always compare us to the Ravens, the Titans. They'll go out and win some crazy game. You know, how the hell they win that game? I don't know how they won that game. This is the kind of team I want. How they win that game? Man, they had cojones. That's how they won that game. That's the kind of team I want. That's what they were Monday night.
Yeah, I think it's a good starting point. And I say starting point because, yes, you're 6 weeks in now, but it gives you a good indication that this team isn't going to peak out week 5 of the season, which you're starting to see some things fizzle out a little bit with other teams like the 49ers, the Eagles, no more undefeated teams. I would rather have a starting point of where to work to get better than to say, oh, we're 5 weeks in, we're on top of the world, there's nothing left to work on, everything's so good, and then you start to see the fizzle out, especially with the back end of this schedule that the Cowboys have. So for me, I like where the team is at. However, there's a lot of room for improvement. Those pre-snap penalties.
Wow.
Oh, that irks, and we can talk about that a little later. But I like where they're at. I like the determination. I like the resilience that they showed in this game. But more than anything, what I really like is you're starting to possibly see the offense get their footing. And I think they need a matchup with the defense. They need to level out there. So that's where I'm at. What about you, Nui?
I remember
Well,
being
Nui is the only gritty person here. You see, everyone else has their nails done, and Nui does not.
Nui's like, what up? I'm from the jungle.
I'm a football reporter.
Yeah.
It is what it is. It is what it is. I remember being in the locker room after the 49er loss, and Tyler Smith said, "We must respond to this, and we will respond." So that stayed in my mind because I thought he was, after a getting punched in the mouth, I thought Mike had talked with a lot of pride. CD was frustrated. I thought Tyler Smith kind of came with we have to respond. And so I took his comments like, that's the one I'm going to key on this week. And that was what I thought they responded. Okay, you got embarrassed on national television. You're right back on national television. What are you going to do? This is a good quarterback. Here is an offensive coordinator who knows what you do.
Yes.
There's a head coach who's supposed to be a guru defensively, and they responded.
Yeah, defensively.
and this was, by the way, this was the score they had the last time they went out there. And Zerline ended up kicking the game-winning field goal to win it to a 20-17 win. So this is, as you two well know from play, it is not easy to win on the road. This is not college football. That's where sometimes I think Cowboy fan gets into it, like you didn't beat them by so-and-so. This is not college football. Get a win and go home, and it came down to the end. As it's supposed to in most games in the National Football League. You look at the early lines, they're usually, 3 or 2.5. I mean, it's not going to be easy. And it wasn't. It wasn't. And so they went out there, they got to win. I don't think the Chargers going to make the playoffs. I just think their coaches, I think Brandon Staley's bad. I go back into that game when he decided to go for the fourth down and Bland ended up breaking it up. Like, take the point, kick the field goal.
Yes.
I'm like, this is going to be a long game.
How you know that wasn't a Kellen call? Because that's something Kellen would do.
But this is what Brandon Staley was doing before Kellen got there. So this was already his MO. Like, we're going to go for it. But I'm just like, man, kick 3 points. And if he does, maybe it's 2020 and you're out here kicking a field goal to win the game. But this is just who he is. And I just think it's going to get him fired. I said it on the Players Lounge. I would not be surprised if Kellen Moore is the interim coach at some point in time, because you guys are watching the game. Do you watching it? I'm looking. There's dumb and there's Charger dumb. What are you doing?
And at the end, they're always driving down for the last moment.
Well, I mean,
to preserve or to win a victory.
They have the most losses by 6 points or less than any other team in the National Football League, and it was a combination of Brandon Staley dumb and Kellen Moore dumb. Because you saw the opportunities where, Brandon Staley, he wants to go for it on fourth down. He's been the leader of that analytics things. It says go for it. And then at the end of the game, which has always been my issue with Kellen Moore. Thank you. It happened to us. It happened for us and not, it happens for us and it wasn't us doing it to them. Kellen Moore went back to the same old bag. I need a first down. What do?
Pass.
I run to the sticks and turn around. And Stephon Gilmore said, "Not today, my friend." Like I remember Kellen Moore is a disciple of Jason Garrett. I remember playing for Jason Garrett, and I remember standing there on the sideline sometimes, and we'd line up, and defensive backs would go, "Here come the Harvey route." They're running to the sticks. And I'm like, damn, we are running the Harvey route. And sure enough, you run right to the sticks and stop. And people was eating it up alive. And so when you have those combinations of two coaches who can't balance each other out, right? Like Kellen Moore can't outcoach the stupidity of Brandon Staley, and Staley can't outcoach the stupidity of Kellen Moore. You end up what you have. You have a team what on paper is one of the most talented rosters in all of football, with a quarterback who people continue to overvalue and overrate.
I was going to say, why doesn't anyone blame Herbert the way we've always been dumping on Dak? In the same situation, same offensive coordinator, the same predictability, in the big games that we lose, why is it that the narrative is so different now? That I don't understand, because he's still considered top 5, and Dak is steady falling.
I've always said this when I was doing my radio show on NBC Sports Radio. It's interesting on who we choose to forgive and who we choose to condemn. Yeah. Justin's been forgiven. It's this, it's that, it's da. It's always Dak's fault. One of the things that I found very interesting from the criticism Dak has gotten this year, when I've heard he can't win a big game. So all of a sudden, going to Tampa Bay against Tom Brady, who's never lost to the Cowboys in his career, that's not a big game. And I learned this from John Madden, the late John Madden, when we were doing these. NBC would fly us all out to LA to go talk to Al and John, and I was in Romo.
When the money, that's when the money was good. That's when the money. Ooh, that when the money was good right there. Man, with them TV network, when you fly, you get a trip, you get a trip. Now they like, we gonna send one of y'all. You got.
Ain't no Zoom.
No, you zoom in.
Zoom. Yeah,
you can't have Tony Dungy or Jason Garrett at 1 o'clock on this day.
You got to bring your phone and a tripod.
Get your invite.
Yeah,
get your invite.
You don't even get a camera crew. Hey, you gotta. We gonna get you a 4K phone and get your tripod. You better learn how to do it yourself.
Your station computer.
Yeah.
Right there. So that's what it is now. They ain't flying nobody. It's all on Zoom. And so Tony's the quarterback, and I said, John, Tony's got this reputation that he doesn't win big games. He's like, you know what bothers me so much about that? Show me the little game on the schedule. He said, there's 16 of them. They're all big. And I would go back to this year's game against Arizona. A lot of Cowboy fans thought that was a little game. It wasn't a little game, was it? No. In what it could end up being in the stands along the way, there's no such thing as a little game in the end. They're all big.
Even when they talk about, what did Dak do this game? Well, the defense he played against, the 31st in pass defense. You still got to go out there and pass on them.
Yeah.
You still have to go out there and make plays and do your job. To me, that's the professionalism that this team needs to be credited for. I don't care what we went out there and won the way we were supposed to go win. Everyone doesn't go out there and win the way they're supposed to win. Many times we go out there and we tank. Ask Philly, ask San Francisco about those same things, about what we're supposed to do.
Dak's had some touchdown passes dropped on him this year.
Yes.
You know, I know he's sitting here with 6 touchdowns and 4 interceptions, but the tight ends have dropped 2, at least 2 that I've seen. Gallup should have had one Monday night, I thought.
Yeah.
So along the way, and look, every quarterback goes through this. You're going to have, but that's a part of what's going on here. He's just undeserving of the venom that he gets.
Yeah.
And when I hear he's Kirk Cousins, like, guys, now
He's the black Kirk Cousins.
Now we didn't go on too far. We didn't go on too far now.
Yeah.
No,
and I think too, the way that Dak continues to have faith in his guys when there are drop passes. We talked to Lunda Wells today with earlier. He had availability, and the faith that Dak still has in his guys, though, there's drop passes within the tight end room, not even just in the end zone, just in general. That's been a reoccurring theme. And he still makes sure to go into the tight end meetings. He takes it upon himself to go and establish that chemistry, establish that connection, so that way that's not an issue anymore. The amount of work that this man does outside of just being the quarterback that he doesn't have to do. He doesn't have to show up on Saturday morning to go do that. He takes it upon himself to do. I think, Nui, you said it perfect. The venom is just so ridiculous. And I knew after that 49ers game, I knew what the media headlines were going to be with the interceptions. And that doesn't tell the whole story of what Dak is doing. And especially going through a new establishment under this West Coast offense, there's going to be hiccups. There's going to be growing pains. And I think people forget you're only 5 weeks into the season at that point.
But the criticism after the 49ers game was warranted.
Yes.
Yeah.
Was warranted.
No doubt.
One of the things I did that week was I was talking to several players and even asked one of the coaches, can you put too much into one game? No. The owner saying it's a measuring stick. Mike saying it's everybody. And the reason I'm asking is like, in the back of my mind, well, what if you don't win?
Yeah.
It's like boxing. You can talk about your win.
Or what if you just don't
win?
play well at all?
You come out there look like Errol Spence.
Right.
And they just Bud Crawford you. All,
Shout out to Errol Spence. That's my guy. That's Nui. So if you
Yes,
see Nui on the street, just give him one. Tap him up a little bit, Errol. No.
Channel 5.
And it happens. Styles make fights. I mean, Ken Norton broke Ali's jaw. You remember back in the day, I mean, Ali could not handle Norton. He just couldn't. Styles make fights.
Or Cooper. Cooper with the left hand. The left hook was killing.
Right. So these things happen. And that's when I'm like, you guys put so much into this because it's October. We got a long way to go. But the criticism, I thought, when everybody talks about it and Dak talked about it and you have 3 interceptions, that's not going to get it done. Mm. It's just not. And so now to the levels that some people took it to, the former athletes, but that has to be called out because you're making that kind of money, you're expected to perform. And
he expects to perform. You can tell that he humbles himself.
And he didn't. Yeah. And oh, by the way, Michael Parsons didn't. I mean, it was a whole lot of folks that didn't get it done that day, but the quarterback is going to get it. The 3 picks, and we could talk about, well, the offense isn't here and there, and that's fine. But you got outclassed in San Francisco after saying you're ready for it. It's like, here we go. Take 3.
They threw down the gauntlet. The Cowboys threw down the gauntlet.
Right. Yeah. Take 3. We can't get it done. and so you opened yourself up for it. They opened themselves up for it. They took it, and then they responded against the Chargers. Now, can you respond after the bye week? There's a pretty interesting opponent coming up here. Let's dive into the Rams, who, oh, by the way, are not the same sorry Rams people thought they were going to be to start the season. We do that with Jess Everson. Jesse, I'm Newey Scruggs. This is the Players Lounge, brought to you by Tostitos on DallasCowboys.com radio.
I'm Dak Prescott, quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys.
And they snap it to Prescott, who looks right. It's not there. He escapes left. He'll run for a first down.
Just like football, when it comes to crypto, it's important to have a team you can trust. With blockchain.com, I know I'm in good hands. Since 2011, they've been trusted by millions around the world to buy, sell, and trade cryptocurrency.
Prescott's going to run this himself. Run it up the middle, and he scores.
Whether you're new to crypto or an active trader, they've got you covered. What are you waiting for? Get started at blockchain.com.
Hi, I'm Danny McCray, Dallas Cowboys alumni player here with Smoothie King. And Smoothie King wants to ask you, what's that sound? That's the sound of you and everyone else absolutely loving new smoothie bowls from Smoothie King. And woo, me too. These smoothie bowls start with acai and pitaya and are handcrafted with fresh toppings like sliced bananas, sweet berries, crunchy Purely Elizabeth granola, and a savory peanut butter drizzle. New smoothie bowls, only at Smoothie King, the official smoothie of the Dallas Cowboys.
To kick off the 2023 NFL season, Hugo Boss teamed up with the NFL and Micah Parsons to launch an iconic apparel collection featuring hoodies, crews, t-shirts, polos, joggers, and more. The bold, unique apparel of the Boss NFL collection unites football and fashion while reflecting what it truly means to be a boss. Get yours today at nflshop.com/HugoBoss, at HugoBoss.com, and at Boss retail stores. #Be your own boss.
We got big personalities. We got big hair, big belt buckles. We got fans all across this big state and enemies in every other one. We even got a big star on the 50-yard line. Smirnoff knows football is a we thing, an experience that is best enjoyed together. With good drinks and good folks home or away, we rally together. We cry together, and we always rally cry together because, most of all, we got big love for them boys. Smirnoff, we do game days. Please drink responsibly.
Back to the Players Lounge.
Players Lounge, different look today. We've got Jess Navarez with us. We've got Everson Walls, the former Dallas Cowboy defensive standout. We've got Jesse Holley, Mr. Fourth and Long, joining us right here, another former Dallas Cowboy. All right, so the team's on a bye this week. They go into the bye 4-2. When they come back, it will be a game against the Los Angeles Rams, who are 3-3 right now in their division. Obviously, the 49ers leading the NFC West at 5-1. Seattle 3-2. Rams are 3-3. Right now, the Cowboys, oh, by the way, are 0-2 against the West. Arizona lost to them out there, lost to San Francisco right out there. So here come the Rams, a lot better than we thought, and I'm worried about this game. The reason I'm worried about it is Matt Stafford's got Cooper Kupp back and Puka Nacua.
Puka Nacua.
You know,
Who is this guy?
You know what he is?
Man.
Like, they went out there like, who looks like Cooper Kupp? Him. You. What was that movie with the two ladies? Where one tried to be the other one. Chris, what is it? I can't remember that. Single white female
right.
or something like that. That one where that's what they did. So they found he's from the islands, but yeah, he looked like Cooper Kupp, run like Cooper Kupp, just dark. So
Dax the black Kirk Cousin. Puka Nacua is the black
Ivory Cooper Kupp.
He's the Ivory Coast Cooper Kupp.
I remember when Rick Carlisle when he first got hired here for the Cup, when he took over Avery Johnson, like, you know what they say about you? He's like, no, they're calling you Ivory Johnson.
I'm sorry. Didn't mean to laugh too loud at that.
But the thing, Rick, super smart guy, got it immediately. Like, okay. But Rick kind of had that rep. But this passing game that the Rams are going to bring in here, they're going to test the Cowboys. They will test the Cowboys, and Matthew Stafford, Dallas native, he's slinging the rock, and I give Sean McVay a lot of credit. I thought this team was going to be bad. They're not bad. This is a team that if you are not on point, especially coming out of bye week with time, this is a good football team, Jess.
Yeah, no, I think for me the focus is on the offensive line, what the Cowboys offensive line is able to do with another week of building that cohesion and that continuity together, because that's been something that they haven't had the privilege to be able to do up until 2 weeks ago. And so to be able to stand against a firm D-line and continue to build that, I think it can only help at this point. And you saw glimpses of it. It wasn't perfect during this last game, but to me, all eyes are on that O-line and what they're able to continue to do. It's so important to build that continuity, and now you're 5 weeks in. Most teams have had the ability to do that. The Cowboys are kind of playing catch-up in that department, so I want to see what the O-line can do during this game.
That's a good one. I'm looking forward to not just the O-line, but this is what you touched on, coaching. Okay, San Francisco was on coaching. This particular game, it was all about coaching. There are certain teams, such as the Rams, when you have a McVay, who are able to draw up a game plan that can give your team a chance to win. I don't just mean, everybody does that, but I mean they are specific in what they target. They're going to target our defensive line to see if they can run the ball. Keep the ball out of our offensive hands. That's what they're going to try and do. And they're going to do their best to stop us from running the ball. There are certain nuances that coaches can find out, Jesse, as you know, that they can hang their hat on, that can give them a chance to stay in a ball game, to keep the crowd out of a ball game. We've seen it so many times here. And this is why I liked last week, or this past game, because it didn't matter what the game plan was. After a while, it's about punching somebody in the mouth.
Yeah.
It's about who's going to react to these unusually big plays that you might not be accustomed to having against you. So how are we going to react from the fact that someone may be overly aggressive against us and it's working and we don't know what to do about it? This is the kind of games that we need to really go out and eliminate. Those causes, we need to be a better coach team, and we need to have better responses to whatever we see on the field. So sometimes it's just about the reaction, not about what you go in with, but the reaction to what you see in this particular ballgame.
One of the things that the Cowboys struggle with defensively a lot is the eye candy. And the number 2 team in the National Football League with pre-snap motion, the Los Angeles Rams. 65% of the time, they do pre-snap motion. 40% out of that 65%, they're doing motion as the ball is being snapped. That is one of the things that the Cowboys have to improve on. And when you have these missing pieces, when you don't have the Leighton Vander Esch's of the world, when you don't have the Diggs of the world, and now guys are being moved around, right? You know this defensively. When the number 2 guy becomes the number 1 guy, then the number 3 guy becomes the number 2 guy, the number 4 guy. So now you got this rotation of guys, and you're trying to have the proper communication. This is the type of offense that you're going up against, where you have to be assignment alignment sound. You have to know what the hell you're looking at. You have to know what it is before the snap, and you darn sure better know what it is after the snap, because they're going to be passing guys off through zones, and guys will be going one way and come back the other way. Sean McVay is one of those young, innovative coaches who have bought into the system of, we're going to call an offense that's going to stretch your defense. And, now you're kind of playing Micah back and forth between defensive end and linebacker. So there's a lot of moving pieces in this defense. And so I want them to really be able to focus on. Now this week, there is no work being done this week, ladies and gentlemen. The guys are gone, rightfully so, as they should be, right? Getting their bye week. So when they get back to working next week, this is one of the things that the Cowboys have to really lock in on, because they're going to try to confuse you, and they're going to try, to your point, Cub, they're going to try to make the matchups work in their favor. Yes. They're going to try to get Stephon Gilmore having to run with somebody. Stephon Gilmore, he's not good. I said this coming out of training camp. If he can keep everything in front of him, he's great. Yeah. If he got to get on his horse and chase somebody, he's in a world of trouble.
So just piggybacking on what you two have talked about in the coaching. Sean McVay used to work for the Shanahans. Worked right beside Kyle. He's going to go ahead and get that 49er tape, dive into it. He'll get that Arizona tape and dive into that. Against Arizona last week, they blew them out 26-9. They ran the ball 28 times for 179 yards. So that's talking about the coaching.
He's going to attack you where he thinks you're weak.
Yeah, they're definitely going to get into that.
What gets me with the Cowboys, though, and I talked about in the other podcast, when do you make your adjustments? It seems like once we have a problem, we don't adjust well in games that we lose. I thought that we would make a better adjustment with San Francisco sooner. You don't have to wait till halftime all the time. Sometimes you can make it after the first drive. I remember sitting there with Ernie Stoughton sometimes like, hey, guys, we know exactly what they're doing with us. Gene Stallings over there yelling. All right, from now on, we're not doing it like this on the flex. We're going to make an adjustment. They don't make an adjustment sometimes to the second half. Sometimes not, and that adjustment doesn't work for the entire game. I would like to see this team say, okay, we can be diverse. We don't have to be this team. Okay, in the first quarter, we don't have to be that same first quarter team. Second quarter, we're different now because we just made the adjustment. I just don't see that. And maybe I'm missing it because it is very nuanced when it comes to adjustments. But if they keep on doing the same damn thing in the second half they were doing the first half, who's doing what?
Rally Days, presented by SeatGeek, give NFL fans an experience of a lifetime the day prior to Dallas Cowboys home games. On October 28th, enjoy activities at Miller Lighthouse. Get behind-the-scenes tours of AT&T Stadium and more. Visit attstadium.com/Rally Days for more. And for more information, you know what? Get your tickets right now. Get them today. When we come back, Jess, you were there with the assistant coaches talk today. Let's get a little report. Give us some nuggets from that. We'll do that next right here on the Players Lounge, brought to you by Tostitos. This is DallasCowboys.com radio.
It's the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black. And right now, Cowboys fans can get 15% off their $75 order. Plus, because every deal needs a playmaker, your order will include a free 5-piece skincare set and free shipping. The Jack Black Playmaker is 4 of Jack's favorites and a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Make a play for the Playmaker at getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP.
I'm Dak Prescott, quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys.
And they snap it to Prescott, who looks right. It's not there. He escapes left. He'll run for a first down.
Just like football, when it comes to crypto, it's important to have a team you can trust. With blockchain.com, I know I'm in good hands. Since 2011, they've been trusted by millions around the world to buy, sell, and trade cryptocurrency.
Prescott's going to run this himself. Run it up the middle, and he scores.
Whether you're new to crypto or an active trader, they've got you covered. What are you waiting for? Get started at blockchain.com.
To kick off the 2023 NFL season, Hugo Boss teamed up with the NFL and Micah Parsons to launch an iconic apparel collection featuring hoodies, crews, t-shirts, polos, joggers, and more. The bold, unique apparel of the Boss NFL collection unites football and fashion while reflecting what it truly means to be a boss. Get yours today at nflshop.com/HugoBoss, at HugoBoss.com, and at Boss retail stores. #Be your own boss.
We got big personalities. We got big hair, big belt buckles. We got fans all across this big state and enemies in every other one. We even got a big star on the 50-yard line. Smirnoff knows football is a we thing, an experience that is best enjoyed together. With good drinks and good folks home or away, we rally together. We cry together, and we always rally cry together because, most of all, we got big love for them boys. Smirnoff, we do game days. Please drink responsibly.
Back to the Players Lounge.
Dallas Cowboys Game Time, powered by Lenovo, the official gaming platform and community of the Dallas Cowboys. Sign up now to compete in Madden 24 for a chance to win 2 tickets and a VIP experience to a 2023 Dallas Cowboys home game. Qualifiers begin on October 6th and they run through the 13th. Learn more and register at DallasCowboys.com. I'm Newey Scruggs. This is the Players Lounge. We mix things up a little bit here. We got 2 players, Jesse Holley, Everson Walls.
Player.
Jess Navarez joins us right now. And
Is that my title?
No.
Oh, I was like, whoa, okay.
Lay your head down. Lay your head down.
You can sing.
Beautiful singing voice.
It is not. Please don't.
That was beautiful.
Do not encourage that.
It's always one. It's always one, man. It's always one that want to bring the brother down.
I got you.
You know he's my dude, man.
Don't call me Jason Whitlock.
Yeah.
Dude, no lie. It was a bowl game. I want to say it was the Cotton Bowl. Missouri played somebody. And I'm just standing there waiting, and a dude starts asking me questions about my column and stuff. Then I realize he thinks I'm Jason Whitlock.
Wow.
Damn, I need to get on a diet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what that means.
That sent you to spin class?
Yes.
Whatever it takes, baby.
Bought a trainer. It's not good.
Yeah.
It has not. That was 20-something years ago. It happened since. But yes. I was like, oh my gosh. All right.
Between the Jason Whitlock comment and the Nate Newton comment, you've been traumatized, brother. We need to sit down.
Okay.
We need to sit you down. I need to take you to my therapy session with my therapist.
No, this is when it's like when I was in Houston during the baseball play. You take yourself down to the gym. Going down there you go. Take yourself right on down there. Pick up some weights and start to do that. So yes. Jess, assistant coach, talk today. You were there.
Yeah.
Give me some nuggets.
Yeah, so I think some of the most interesting things that we heard was Aiden Dirty talked about Osa being the unsung hero, not just within the defense right now, but as a locker room leader within the team. He said the way he goes about things, the way that he helps his teammates around him learn the nuances, especially with the younger group in the locker room, not just in his room, but expanding across really the entire team. He said Osa is the unsung hero. I thought that was a really good little nugget. Lunda Wells talked about the tight ends room. He talked about those drop passes. So we were touching base on that earlier. He said, they're not satisfied with where they are and there's some growth to be made. But overall, he likes where Jake Ferguson is as this locker room leader for the tight ends room. He talked about Dak going into the meetings, saying that that's something new because last year they had Dalton Schultz that would go in and go into the other meetings, not necessarily Dak coming into the meeting. So that's something new that they're doing. Let's see what else. We learned a lot today. Those really were like the biggest nuggets that we got out of it, other than we heard, Scott Tolzien talked about Dak Prescott overall and kind of how he's been impressed to watch his growth over the last 4 years with how resilient he is with handling the media criticism specifically. He talked about that too. So there was a lot of little nuggets today, but those are the main ones I picked up on.
I wasn't there for it, but let me ask this. Was Trey Lance addressed or brought up to Scott Tolzien?
He was, and he was asked how Trey gets reps when you're in the middle of the season, coming in late. You don't have the off season to kind of build that rapport and get that extra work in the off season. He said you take advantage of the reps you get, very similar to what Cooper Rush does. If it's a walkthrough rep or if it's a random practice rep where a guy needs a water break, whatever the case is, you take advantage of those reps and you make them count. And so he said that Trey's done a very good job at adjusting, picking up things, and being organized with how he's learning right now.
Still interesting trade, and then just where this thing ends up going. You do need a backup quarterback, and while Cooper Rush has done a good job, he's getting older. Trey Lance, obviously a young player, and if you hit on this, then you're looking good. If you don't, you don't. But I'm just going to be very interested. How does this thing work itself out come next training camp? Because that, to me, is when the payoff will be of, can he work himself to the point to be a backup quarterback for this team? You're not buying. You've got to look.
I thought I heard a sigh.
Say it, baby. Don't hold back. Don't be scared.
No, come on now. I'm a lot of things.
Bring it to me now. Come on, Jersey. Come on, New Jersey. Come on, man.
Jersey.
Because here's my thing. You didn't bring this guy here for a backup role. Like, you just don't bring that caliber of a player here to say, I like to think if he can make a backup role. Like, we understand that, right? Like, we understand the landscape of how, when you look at a player of the number 3 overall pick, you're not trying to figure out, you know what, I think he'd be a good backup for Dak Prescott. Your thought process is, can we keep the luck of the train moving? This Cowboys team has been very, you can call it fortunate, you can call it blessed, you can call it lucky, you can call it whatever you want to call it. But in the last 20 years, to take an undrafted free agent and turn him into a franchise quarterback, to take a 4th-round pick and turn him into a franchise quarterback, there has been an immense amount of blessings, luck, fortune, whatever you want to cast upon that title. This is a train-moving piece. This is, have we found the piece to keep the train moving? We're saying 3rd-round pick, there's a pedigree in that. Can we unearth the talent that a lot of people saw coming out of North Dakota State?
Mm-hmm. Third overall.
Third overall pick. Can we unearth that talent? Because let's be frank, and I have nothing against Dak Prescott, but you're in year 8. At this point in time, either you got it or you don't. And with that looming $61 million tag number that comes with him next year, you have to make a decision. You're either going to extend him, or you're going to take that number and eat that number and say, you're going to play on the $61 million. And then after that, we're either going to let Trey Lance be the guy, and we're going to go forward with that, or we're going to hitch our wagon to you to 2 or 3 more years and see if this thing can go. Trey Lance wasn't brought here to be a backup. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. You just don't bring a guy of that caliber here to be a backup. You're trying to find out, is this the next dude to keep your train of quarterbacks, like I said before, however you want it, keep this thing moving going into the future?
So let me come back to you on this, Everson, because you played the league with this guy at the time. Steve Walsh. Didn't work out at Tampa. They end up taking Vinny Testaverde. Walsh trades for him. He backs up Joe Montana for a number of years. Ended up having a Hall of Fame type career. Do you envision him being that kind of player? Because when Walsh got Steve Young, he had a whole bunch of warts on him. And there was people like, we don't know. How do you see Lance?
I don't see him as a Steve Young.
Okay.
I just don't. I see him as a person that could be a very good backup quarterback. That's just the way I see it. They didn't pay much for him, so I don't think they took much of a chance on him. I think he was something that kind of fell into their lap because the 49ers felt like they could do better with Purdy. And so Purdy made him disposable. That's what I see. I don't see him coming in here being, I know you're not saying this, being a threat to Dak necessarily, but like you said, just it was low-hanging fruit. You know, he was there for us, and he is very shiny. That's what I like about him. He's very shiny. That's what the Cowboys like about him. I just don't see him coming in here to be that Steve Young. If he does, man, God bless us. Because we could use that. I mean, because if Dak doesn't make it within the next few years and he's still here, then, yeah, they might look at him. But I'm pretty sure it's just my opinion that Dak is going to be that guy. He's going to sign another contract here. I believe that. I truly believe that.
Yeah, I'm right there. I think you didn't lose anything by getting a guy like Trey Lance on your team. You didn't lose anything, but you gained something. You gained a young guy that could potentially come in and take that backup quarterback role here in the next couple of years. And I say potentially because they put a lot of value in Cooper Rush and what he's been able to do with the opportunity he's gotten. Cooper Rush is a backup quarterback that knows the scheme. He's been through the highs and lows with Kellen and now McCarthy's play calling. He knows the nuances. He's enthralled in his work environment, right? And so with Trey Lance, you have a guy that has potential, but is that enough to say anything yet?
And that's my point, Jess. If you have a guy in Cooper Rush, right? Like we're talking about backup, so I don't want to hear he's getting older or anything like that, because we're not looking for him to be the future of what we're doing.
Backup.
We're looking for him to in the event that something happens to our starter. Can he step in for a game, 2, 3, 5
Trey
for
Lance
Cooper
is
Rush?
much more attractive than Cooper Rush when you talk about it.
But for everything Jess just said, he's been here. He understands the system. He understands the environment. He understands the players. The coaches know him. You know exactly what you're getting with Cooper Rush. So in the event that something happens, you go, we're good. We got Cooper Rush. He knows us. We know him. I know where I can take his talent. I know where he can't go. That's why I look at this and I go, if the backup quarterback is your thing, you have one. You have one in Cooper Rush.
Trey Lance represents the BBD, the bigger, better deal. That's their whole thing.
I thought you were gonna say BBL. I was about to whoa. I'm gonna say, you know what I'm saying? Listen, as a man who I enjoy,
I don't know what you're talking about.
I have no idea. Why are we laughing?
Okay.
Why are we laughing?
You know, I mean,
I'll leave that to you youngsters.
Yeah.
Me
Don't put it on me.
Y'all know.
Don't put it on me.
Y'all know.
Jesse, that's the wrong show, Jesse.
Oh, sorry, wrong show. Sorry, wrong show. Sorry, Jess. Wrong show. Players Lounge. I'm sorry.
Oh, man.
You were saying BBD. Bigger, better deal.
Bigger, better deal. That's what he represents. And this is the nature of the owner. Wildcatter, oil industry. Hey, let's go dig right there. Let's see if we get some of that Texas tea to come out of that Trey Lance well right there. If it does, great. If not, as you said, Everson, you didn't pay much for it. You're okay. The Niners paid the bulk of it. So that's what it is here. All right. As we get close here to ending the show, give me your MVP and the player that's disappointed you so far 6 games in the year. Ooh. I will start.
MVP.
The MVP is Micah Parsons for me. He's not in the Defensive Player of the Year conversation right now in the top 3. I don't think he is. But for this football team, Micah Parsons is the MVP. When I look at disappointment, I'm looking at the receivers outside of CeeDee Lamb, meaning Michael Gallup and Brandon Cooks, who I thought were going to bring a lot more. And what I saw at training camp, I haven't seen in the games. Cooks did look good against the Chargers, but I've needed to see more. Gallup, I thought, hey, he's going to be back, that we'd see more. I haven't seen that yet, so that's been a disappointment. Obviously, they can turn around, but right now, 6 games in, I thought I would see a lot more from Dak's number 2 and 3 wide receivers. Jesse, what you got?
Man, I model my life after consistency. And so I'm always looking for guys who can be the most consistent. Doesn't always have to be the very best, but I know what I get from you, right? Like that part, I know exactly what I'm going to get from you.
Trust.
Yeah, I like that.
Trust requires 3 things.
What's that?
Time, proof, and consistency.
I like that. And so to put that time, proof, and consistency, time, proof, and consistency, TPC. I got BBD and TPC.
He was too quick with that. No, you were way too quick with that.
No, that's from Coach Kevin Eastman.
No, Everson, you're right. He was waiting for that.
You've been dying to say that.
We said that.
I'm sorry.
You said you were
all the time.
I got you.
That's a staple. That's a staple on the play.
I got you.
Yes, trust requires 3 things. Time, proof, and consistency.
And so for me, I would say the MVP, because of the consistency, is Take Lawrence. I think a lot of times we look for the sacks and we look for the splash plays. But when you look at just the consistent work, the pressures, the assignment alignment, like the grading out, like all those things, to me are one that I look at and I go, man, the Micah gets the credit for being the flashy splash player, but Tank to me is the model of consistency on this defense. Disappointment, and I've been riding for this. I've been riding since the helicopter landed right over here in the field. Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy is the biggest disappointment to me right now. And it hurts my heart. If you follow the Hanging with the Boys show, Freaky Mike is my dude. I stood on the table for Freaky Mike to get signed when we were looking for a new head coach. I wanted him to call plays from the start, like all of the above. And finally the moment has come for him to step into that place of this is my offense and I can really call it the way that I want to call it. And boy, we've been left with a lot to desire. And in training camp, you saw it. It was ball was high flying there and high flying there and this. And I watched training camp over here and that thing was slinging around the park. We get here and I'm just like, where did it go? Well, what happened to this Texas Coast offense?
Okay, 4-2, not good enough for Jesse Holley. Okay.
No, I didn't say that. I didn't say 4-2 wasn't good enough.
It's early.
I didn't say 4-2 was not good enough.
It's early.
It's disappointing. You're disappointed.
His ability to call the plays in the offense right now, to me, from what my expectation was, is disappointing.
Okay.
And he said right now. Once again, it's early.
Fair.
With me, after seeing his last year's just disappointing season, and I attribute that to the injury to his knee and all of that. And I just know the athleticism that this guy possesses. I see him this year. I was looking forward to him challenging CeeDee Lamb as the number one receiver, knowing the CeeDee's going to stay number one. But I love it when that number two guy challenges that number one number. And so I'd have to say Michael Gallup has really disappointed me to this point.
Tony Hill ain't walking through that door.
Yeah, man. I look for him to really be more comfortable on that knee. And maybe he is, but I have not seen him be that guy that can take it deep. You know, we still need a guy that can go deep. Michael Gallup is that guy. CD could be that guy as well. We have receivers that can go deep, but he hasn't shown that he can get away from a defensive back, you know, enough to where he can open himself up for a target for his quarterback.
Who's your MVP?
MVP, Michael Parsons. That's easy. I mean, I could say that year round, and I love that. But I'm looking at D-Law. I just really love the way, I love his consistency. I always have. It's no different this year. He's not breaking out doing a lot of things, but he's holding down his end, and he's making some of those quiet plays that put us back on track defensively.
Jess, save the best for last.
All right. Oh, that's so sweet. I'm going to go CeeDee Lamb as my MVP because this is a guy that really had to evolve his mindset to be a wide receiver one, because he talked about it last year. He said it's a mindset change that you have to get into. And although he has not been productive, I don't put the blame on him for that. I don't necessarily think that he's not getting the ball because he doesn't want to get the ball. What starting wide receiver doesn't want to get the ball?
I want the ball, and I was a Jag. I'm like, give me the rock.
You're not even playing right now.
I want the ball. Give me the ball.
And that's my point is I don't put it on him for not getting the ball, right? And I think they're still trying to figure it out. But when he does get the ball, you're talking about a guy that is going to make the play happen. He's your clutch receiver for a reason. He's there. And he hasn't disappointed. He hasn't disappointed in being that starting receiver. And so I'm really excited to see, you know, only his second 100-yard game of the season so far compared to week 1 and then Monday night. But what else is he capable of doing now that he said, I want the ball? Dak Prescott heard him. Dak gave him the ball. That's your starting point, and I'm excited to see that going forward. For me, Jesse, I'm going to agree with you. It's not necessarily Mike McCarthy. It's the play calling that we've seen so far that's disappointed me the most so far this season. I say so far. And here's the thing. Yes, 4-2 is fantastic, but should you have lost to the Cardinals? No. 49ers? Probably, but
and
at the same
lost because of his play calling.
At the same time, you haven't seen what Mike McCarthy's play calling is yet and why. You've had opportunity to see it fully displayed, and why haven't you? You've seen a different version of it every single week to where you don't even know what the heck this Texas Coast offense really is yet. So for me, I want to see more of Mike McCarthy showing his hand to say, look, this is our identity. What is it? What's your identity? You're lacking it. CeeDee Lamb couldn't even answer that for you. I want to see more of that going forward, and that's not to say it's a knock on anything. It's just the bar is here. I want to see it.
That's an agreement. Oh, the mic's off.
That's enough time we've had today. Thank you, Jesse Holly, Everson Walls, Jeff Tavares. I'm Louis Schwartz. Players Live. We'll talk
They
to you
did that
next
to us on purpose, man.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!